It'll be fine.
Yeah, and if they have a question that I don't see, obviously just translate and
Yeah,
then I'll
yeah,
answer.
absolutely.
Will it show up on my screen here
You
underneath?
should see Facebook and YouTube once it's fully live, and we're almost there. Okay, so now we're live and now we're recording. So as people comment on Facebook and YouTube, you should see it in the sidebar, and then you won't be able to see the comments on Instagram, but I'll be able to see them and kind of like bring them to the foreground.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So hi. So I anybody who's actually watching, if there's anybody who's logged on yet, I am talking to Mike Brott. I got that right?
You got it right.
Okay, okay. I randomly came across, oh, actually, hang on. My live didn't work on Instagram. I can see it, but it hasn't actually done it. I'm doing great today. I'm telling you, I'm out of
No,
practice over
I
here.
actually got the notification right now. It
Okay.
says that you're
It just
live.
went.
So,
Yeah, it
yep.
just went. Um, it's so funny how the internet brings people together. You commented on one of my videos, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that thing in the profile photo? And I was like, I want in on whatever that is. Like, I'm really bummed I'm not going to be in any of the spaces that you're going to in the next 3 weeks because I would love to grab some footage of the Superbird. I think that thing is just so cool.
So I
Hi,
was gonna ask
Nitroflex.
you, um, how far away is Illinois, Chicago from you?
So it took me 15 hours to get back from Wisconsin. If that gives you like any sort of timeline, it's probably about 12 hours for me for Chicago,
12
Illinois.
hours.
12 to 15. Yeah.
And what about like if you did like a flight, like a quick trip instead of a full on?
You know what? I don't know. I have not done a plane ride since I started doing media. As silly as that sounds, because I've always had a rig and I carry so much gear and stuff with me. I could pare it down. We could look at that. We could look at that.
Yeah, because I believe it's July 17th is Fuel Fest in Illinois.
Oh, you
So,
know what?
and
I looked at that. I am um I am on the 18th. I am at MIR because I looked at that because Fuel Fest is on my list of things that I would like to go to. But I am at MIR for jet fuel cars. I
mm,
have a driver friend of mine who had. Can your tail go somewhere else? Um, and he's got me in for media for that. And this is like the third time we've attempted to do this, so I am not allowed to change my plans.
and what about Irving, New York area, like
New
Buffalo?
York would be easier. New York would be easier.
Because
We can
that's
look at
the
that
one that
one.
we're starting with. So I know it's
Okay.
kind of a short notice, but we leave tomorrow morning to start the tour,
Okay.
driving from Arizona to New York, and we're doing the Gucci Burnout for the 4th of July event. So it's like a 4th of July
Oh.
bash on the res, and they have the big Indian drift pit, and it's supposed to be this huge bash. There's VIP. They got their own fireworks they're already talking about. Like it's supposedly going to be like this huge show, and we're bringing the Superbird and the Red Challenger, which is
Okay.
pictured behind me here, to
All
go
right.
drifting at the Burnout Pit. So if you
I
can
love
make
burnout.
that, it's supposed to be a pretty good show.
Okay, all right. When we get off of this, we'll look into the details on that because you might twist my arm for that. I was gonna stay local this year. I was gonna stay local this year. I almost went to the Poconos, but the Poconos was a whole confusion. There's like two events happening, and somehow I got the wrong information. I think I signed up for the car show, and I don't do car shows, so I'm doing great over here for 4th of July weekend.
Well, saying that you're
So we'll
gonna
talk
stay
about
local
it.
this year is the car guy equivalent of I'm not gonna buy any more projects, I swear.
I promise not to be on Marketplace.
Yeah.
All right. So part of the reason that we have you on, and I want to talk about your tour a little bit more here in a minute, but part of the reason we have you on is you're doing something really interesting, which was part of our conversation when we came across each other in the wild that is Instagram. And you are doing Mopar Angle Kits. Is that
Yeah,
my understanding? All right,
yeah.
educate us.
So we're a new up and coming company. We actually just launched product this year, halfway through January.
Okay.
So it's like super fresh. We're what, 6 months in now of products being available to the public. We were in R&D for about a year and a half. We got our first prototype kit. I want to say September-ish of last year, roughly. And then we did R&D throughout the year, going to events locally, testing it out, seeing what we liked, seeing what we didn't, cutting, grinding. Oh, this is binding, this hits, this, that, the usual R&D kind of stuff. And
Okay.
sent all the revisions out to the engineer. They made all of those revisions, and then we were able to release the fully operational product in January. So that's the
Okay.
revised kit that's available on market right now. It fits any of the newer Mopar chassis from like 0506 all the way to 2023 before they did the
Okay.
switch to like the EV stuff and the newer
Okay.
chassis. So Challenger, Charger, 300, Magnum, it direct bolts to all of them. It's really cool because it doesn't require any cutting, any welding, any relocating, or anything like that. It's literally you pull your stock suspension off and you bolt our kit on right in its place, and then you can adjust it from there to whatever you
Okay.
want to run, whether that's drift or cruising around or straight line or whatever. We have fully adjustable barrel adjusters upper and lower on the control arms. So whatever, literally whatever settings you want to run, you can run it.
Okay. So what brought you to the point that you created the angle kit for the Mopars to begin with? What were you guys doing that you were like, hey, there's a need for this? What problem are you solving?
Well, originally me and my dad were talking. He wanted to do an old school Mopar like our Superbird as a drift car. And we kind of tossed it around and we were like, okay, well, we can swap over to the newer suspension. That way it's like updated versus like 70s technology, right? And then we were like, well, if we're going to spend all the money to research and develop a kit, why don't we just make something for the public instead of
Okay.
a expensive one-off? We just make a lot of them.
Okay.
And that turned into, well, let's see where this goes. And kind of one of those domino effects. We go down the rabbit hole, we find the engineer. We buy a Hellcat, we send them the car, we do the 3D scans, make sure everything's going to fit, everything's going to clear. Thus the Mark One kit, and then so on and so forth until we came out with what we have right now. you know and the whole reason that we kind of went the route that we did was because when you look at the car community and you look at all the different brands, all the different platforms, you know, everything else has support, right? Chevy, Ford, there you see them in FD, people drift them all the time. The Camaros, the Corvettes, the Mustangs, any of the JDM stuff, typical drift cars, the 240s, the Miatas, you name it. Then you got the European cars, the BMWs, and whatever else is out there that people are drifting. All of them have support. And then you look at the Mopar world, and there's zero support. They're straight line only cars. They're too heavy to corner. They're not good at autocross. They understeer, the fronts push, all these things, right? All the stigma. So
Sure.
we're like, well, it's one of the last, when you think about it, untouched brands in terms of aftermarket support outside of drag racing, right? Or like a show car where it's just bagged and laying on the ground and has a million lights on it.
Right.
So we're like, well, let's do something about that. Again, we're already going to be spending the time and money and effort to make a kit. Let's show the world Mopars can drift, right? It's got the basic
Sure.
formula. It's got a lot of power. It's rear wheel drive. It just can't steer. So how do you fix
Yeah.
that? You build an angle kit, you know what I mean? And you
Right.
go out there and you have a blast.
Okay. All right. So give us a little bit of background on how you guys got here to begin with. Like, I'm assuming you and your dad either have racing or a lot of car background that got you to the point where you're like, Mopars should drift.
Kind of. Growing up, I mean, my dad was always like a gearhead, right? Like that's the typical kind of starting out story. My dad was into cars, got me into cars, taught me what I know type of deal. He used to work at a salvage yard. His job was to chop up old cars for people who wanted to buy parts and replace their stuff
Okay.
because we're down in Arizona, rust free, right? So all of our
Sure.
stuff is like gold to anywhere up north. So
Yeah.
he'd get sent out, sawzall in hand, chop the part off people wanted to buy, and ship it out to the north. And
Okay.
and so as a kid, I was running around the junkyards, and I think there's a picture somewhere where I think I was like, I want to say like 5, 6, I don't know, somewhere in there, maybe even younger. And it's a picture of me and my dad in the junkyard, and I'm pulling the door off a '71 Challenger. Like I got the ratchet and
Yeah.
everything like that. Obviously, I'm not like really pulling it, but I was helping
Sure.
loosen the bolts. But yeah, and then that just as we grew up, Fast and Furious era, the Need for Speed
Of
games, the
course.
the typical storyline there.
Sure.
And then coming out of high school, we kind of like he had a 2011 Camaro, and he was kind of messing around drifting that. I was into my imports because of the Fast and Furious, so then it was always muscle car dad, import son, rivalry, and
Sure.
and all that stuff. And so we've always just been kind of in the community, cruising around,
Okay.
hanging out. Originally he was like hardcore drag racing, and then I was like, hey, you should try road course, because like that's a whole different thing. And
Yeah.
pushing the car to the limits. And then that turned into he bought a Dodge Viper, and I had a
Okay.
factory 5818, which is the donor car is like a WRX. So it's a flat
Okay.
four turbo mid engine, 2,100-pound race car. And we would just go at it on the track. And then from the road course, that's where the drifting started. And he's like, all right, now I want to do this. So we kind of just jumped from like one thing to the next in the car world, and so now we're in the drift world, and we're like all in, and that's our
ADHD
thing
at its
right now.
finest.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's interesting because it's kind of the narrative kind of overall with a lot of people that I talk to that eventually land in drifting is so many of them started in drag. Some of them started with, road course, whatever road course it was, whatever, alphabet soup you'd like to pick for that. Um, but a lot of them started with drag, and then eventually they really didn't want the competition necessarily anymore, or that kind of like competitive aggression that seems to kind of come with, hey, we can't be friends at the track because we're competing for money, we're competing against each other. And then the
Yeah,
drift space became kind of just an all-inclusive kind of space where like anybody could kind of show up. It didn't really matter what you had, it didn't matter how much horsepower you had, just as long as you could stay out of the way.
right. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we both really like about the drift community is like, even if you are competing, it's all love out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
everybody feels bad if you make contact, you hit a door, you rip a bumper
Yeah.
off. Like, everybody's like, I'm so sorry. And the driver's like, dude, we're fine. Nobody's hurt.
Yeah.
I'll fix the car. I'll take a hammer to it. It doesn't bother me. Like, I had a blast. And that's like super cool, right? Because you don't find that a
Yeah.
lot in a lot of the other niches. It's like you said, it's
Sure.
super competitive. It's super, you ruined my line, or, oh, you jumped, or whatever the case is.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's been one of my favorite things about the spaces is it doesn't really matter if you're in the grassroots side of it or the pro side of it. There does seem to be a good balance. And there's some spaces that are a little bit more exclusive than others, by whatever that choice is by the group involved. But for the most part, most of the spaces that I've been in, everybody's been very welcoming, which I appreciate. Um, so with the tour that you're about to go on, you're about to put a lot of mileage on a tow rig. So tell us what the plan is, like start to finish. Where are you guys headed?
So we have a two-car hauler, and like I stated before, we are taking the 1,000 horsepower Superbird with our Angle Kit on it, and
Okay.
my Scat Pack Challenger, which is pretty much stock with like two bolt-ons or whatever.
Okay.
Also running our Angle Kit. The Superbird has the revised edition. The red one has the Scat Pack. They're both red. Has the prototype on it still, and I personally like to still run the prototype because it proves to people when I talk to them like, hey, I could have put a revised kit on it, but I didn't. So you can see,
Right.
like, even though it doesn't have as much angle as the revised kit, even though it's not as refined or whatever, or have like all the proper hardware, like it's tested, tried and true. I've put this
Okay.
thing through hell, and you can see the battle scars on both the car and the kit, and I think
Sure.
that speaks volumes in terms of like, I want to say confidence in the product, right?
Sure.
Because, anybody can put brand new, shiny, untested parts on a car and it looks great. But what
Right.
happens when that product is actually put to the test and strained and beaten on? Like, how does it look after X amount of miles, X amount of events? How does it hold up to the abuse?
Right.
And so eventually I will put a revised kit on the car, but for right now, I feel like that's kind of detrimental to the storyline here for the company as we get
Okay.
started out from the ground up. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure. Okay. So tell us about the trip then. What's your first destination?
New York, which is
All right.
that's the one that's in just north or northeast of Irving, just on the
Okay.
outskirts. It's called the Big Indian Drift Pit. That's July 4th. That's the big party event that's supposed to be going on. So we're leaving tomorrow, which is, I don't know off the top of my head what the date was or is, but we
For the
leave tomorrow
event or
morning.
tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow. I don't
Tomorrow's
have
the
my
30th.
calendar around me. So we leave tomorrow morning, the 30th, and then
Okay.
we're hoping to arrive there at least a day in advance so that we can kind of get settled in, make sure everything
Sure.
with the cars are good, do a couple test hits, the usual. You don't want to wait till day of show and then your car breaks and you have no time to fix it because then it's like a
Yeah.
whole wasted trip, right? So
So
get
tell
up
us about the
there.
event.
It's called the Gucci Burnout, 4th of July bash.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's actually a Mopar drifter. He has, I think, 3 or 4 running Mopars right now that he drifts and does burnout events with. He travels the
Okay.
East Coast. I first met him this year at Mopar Heaven. We were title sponsors in March for
Okay.
the burnout pit side of it, because again, new company, we want to get our name out there. So we're like,
Sure.
Mopar Heaven, one of the biggest Mopar events. That's our customer base. Like, let's do something big there, right? We showed up, I think, with like, I want to say 8 to 12 cars. Like, we came with it heavy as a title sponsor, and
Yeah.
we were in the burnout pit, we were in the car show, we were in the drifting side of it.
Okay.
We were trying to be everywhere and make a scene.
Sure.
Um, we ended up sponsoring one of our Angle kits for the winner of the competition
Okay.
there. And Gucci Burr, which is his Instagram, um, he actually won that competition with his Charger.
Okay.
And so I got to present him at the end of the day, like, hey, dude, you won. Congrats. Like, here's an Angle kit. So he has another Charger he's building right now that he's putting our kit on. It won't be done, unfortunately, in time for 4th, but it will get on the car and he is going to run it and let us know like what he thinks. So we're super excited about that. But
Okay.
but yeah, pretty much Big Indian. It's on the reservation, so they don't have to follow a lot of the normal regulations and rules, so they get away with a lot
Interesting.
more. So it's
Okay.
like way more extreme of an event. Like
Okay.
I think they're talking about driving a truck or a car through the side of an RV in front of everybody at this event, and fireworks galore, aerial shots. Like, it's
You're
supposed to
making
be a
it
big
sound
thing.
like somewhere I really want to be. that's,
Yeah,
that's
it's supposed to
exactly
be a
where I'd love
really
to
like
be.
last time I was up there, there's guys drifting around this banked turn, right? And they have
Uh-huh.
a dude out there behind the bank turn with a flamethrower. So like as the cars drift around, dude shooting fire. So when you get pictures and videos, it's like cool shots, right? Like
That's
they're
so
they're wild up
funny.
there. They're super cool.
Okay.
So that's the first event we're going to.
All right.
After that, we turn around and we go to California, Apple Valley, for the Run It Up Promotions event with Rampage Jackson. That's the following weekend. So we literally have like
Okay.
7 days or less to get across the United States to make it in
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
Run that event. We're hoping that we can get Rampage in one of our cars, hopefully the Superbird.
Okay.
Rumor is that he actually owns a Mopar himself and drives one and likes drifting. So if we can get his attention there, we're hoping we can be like, hey man, let's get a kid on your car. Let's get you sliding the Mopars, be part of this
Sure.
movement, this wave as the Mopar stuff starts to take off in the drifting community, right? And if that happens, obviously that'll be super cool, tons of exposure.
Right. Yeah,
And
Jackson
then
says Apple Valley's on his bucket list.
yeah, it'll be our first time. We're super excited.
I
So
don't
we
so
don't really
I
know
don't
what to
know
expect,
anything.
but
Yeah, so I was gonna say I don't really
yeah.
know anything about the West Coast. I haven't had the pleasure of doing any drifting on the West Coast. It's all been either all East Coast and a little bit to the Midwest and then upper Midwest, and that's been kind of about it for my experience so far.
Yeah, when we just did LA, that was our first time ever drifting there for Fuel Fest. So we're
Okay.
we're just now starting to kind of branch out. Just this year, after launching the product, we did Texas for Mopar Heaven as the title sponsor. We've done some smaller events in New Mexico because it's like the next state over. It's really close. We did Colorado with Slush Motorsports in Pikes Peak
Okay.
International Raceway. And that's pretty much it in terms of branching out. And then we just added LA to the list with Fuel Fest. And
Okay.
now with this tour, it's New York, Apple Valley, Chicago for Fuel Fest
Okay.
again. So
Where's it in Chicago? Which track?
I'm not sure. I haven't got that far yet. I just know I'm
We have not
going.
GPSed it yet. Got it. Got it. That's guy planning right there.
Yeah. We'll make it there. You know, we just know we have a heading, right? We have a direction
Right.
to go towards, and on the way there, then we'll refine it. You know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Because, like, I know when I did Drift Week, I was like, all right, what tracks do we have? How long, how much mileage am I doing overall? How many hours am I on the road? Just to kind of
None of
like,
that's planned. We just know New York, Cali, Illinois.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate it, actually. Um, Well, I will definitely offline. We'll definitely talk about New York because that sounds really appealing. Burnout Wars has been on my list of things that I want to attend, and I just have not had the chance to hit one of the events. I considered going down for what's the one in Vegas? Not PRI, SEMA. I considered
Hmm.
going down for SEMA because they do Burnout Wars at SEMA. Um, but there's nothing really other than that for me to go to SEMA for, because I'm the media lady. I'm not, I'm not shopping for anything. There's nothing on like my list of things to acquire.
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
So last year, like as we were doing the prototype stuff before launch, we actually got invited to SEMA for the first time by Mopar Heaven, which is actually
Okay.
how, backing it up, we met Mopar Heaven by chance through Instagram, like how you and I met. I
Okay.
just happened to post a video of me doing a test run at our local track, Musselman Honda Circuit, in my Challenger, and it was before I even had our company stickers on the side. Like it was all just red. And it's just a short little video of me doing a couple switchback turns, you know.
Okay.
And their head of event coordinating or something like that reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I just saw your video. I just came across my feed, and we were wondering if you guys wanted to come out to Mopar Heaven 2026. It's our 10-year anniversary. It's one of the
Okay.
biggest Mopar events, da da da. And if you're interested, then we can maybe get on a phone call with the owner later." And I said, "Absolutely." We were already planning on going just to show up and kind of surprise everybody, like, "Hey, we exist,"
Yeah.
you know, because we didn't really know how to go about things, right?
Sure. Sure.
And then so then that conversation turned into a three-way phone call, which turned into, "Well, let me call you back in like 2 weeks because we're actually going to
Okay.
be at SEMA this weekend." And I was like, "That's crazy because I'm going to SEMA, or not SEMA, I'm going to Vegas for a modded culture event, which they're a local promoter
Okay.
down here." And he's like, "Well, if you have time, why don't you meet us here at SEMA on Sunday while we're setting up before SEMA opens to the public? We'll
Sure.
meet, we'll get you in, and we'll see what happens." I said, "I will make time for that. There's no
Yeah.
if
Of
I
course.
get time,
Of
like I'll make
course.
it happen, right? That's a huge deal." So I make
Sure.
it happen. I meet them. That conversation turns into us turning into a title sponsor for their event, you
Okay.
know, a sponsored angle kit for their car, another sponsored kit for the winner. And that's kind of like how that thing started rolling. Circling back to why I think it would be important for you to go to SEMA, because as a media person, endless content. So it's
Okay.
not just about meeting people for product sales, right? Like there's celebrities there, there's content creators, there's new product coming out, and that's perfect, like a gold mine for you to be like, hey, did you guys know there's this new product and I'm standing here with so and so company and I
Right.
want to talk about it. And it's literally just endless content, even outside of like the burnouts and drifting and things
Okay.
like that, you know. So just a little blurb for yourself.
Okay.
If you're
No, I mean,
considering
that's good to
going,
know.
yeah, it's a lot. There's so much. Everywhere you turn, there's something to look at. So it would be endless content for you and networking potentially and events to go to that you never knew about, or, you know, definitely a big one.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've considered it. I think I've considered it probably the past 3 years, and I almost went this year. When I first got into all of this, like there was no way I would have gotten access. Like I was too new to all of it to like have any real reason to be there unless I could find somebody to go with,
Hmm.
which has been a big part of kind of what I've learned through the media journey with a lot of it. A lot of the opportunity is just being like, so hey boo, can I go with you? That'd be great. Like it's just like the worst they can say is no.
Right,
But I've been
but a
really
lot of times people love it because then it's media coverage for them, you
yeah,
know? So it's
yeah,
literally like a
exactly.
symbiotic, like, yeah, you get to go and I get footage, everybody wins, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I mean that's definitely one of the things that I've learned being in this space. So t- doing the burnout portion versus drifting, do you find that you think that the burnout, doing like the legal pit burnout sort of stuff, just gets you more exposure, or does it really prove the product?
Um, I don't really think one's greater than the other
Okay,
in terms of, you know, drifting versus burnout. I mean, both of them, you're burning up the rear tires, you're counter steering the car. You know,
sure,
it's just, am I on an actual track with a circuit layout, or am I just in a box?
right.
You know, um, I mean, the angle kit works for both. You know, either way, you have more angle needed for if you want to crab walk the car in the burnout box, or if you're trying to do some crazy controlled figure eight or whatever, and the car kind of overkicks it a little bit instead of losing it with stock angle, you have the extra angle there just to kick it sideways and save you from the spin out and keep you going. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's kind of versatile in that aspect, and we've
Okay.
done both. So personally, we are more on the drifting side because we like actually doing like the drift courses, more of the high speed, you know, cornering type deal. But there's nothing wrong with the burnout box. We've done plenty of that as well.
Okay. All right. What is on the agenda for the rest of 2026? Because we talked about, I'm trying to get you to either come to DoryCon or Drifters of December this year. What else?
So
What else is on the list for you guys?
I think you said Drifters of December was the 5th, correct?
Yes.
So we won't do that one because we
Okay.
have Fuel Fest down here locally in Phoenix, Arizona, which
Okay.
is only two
Okay.
hours away on the
Fair
exact same
enough.
day. So it's hard for us to leave when we have that, you know.
Oh yeah. No, that makes
When
sense.
is the other one that you mentioned?
DoryCon is the 16th and 17th of October. I will get in the 15th because we'll all get kind of like set up and prepped for the Friday. It's a Friday Saturday event versus a Saturday Sunday event,
Hmm.
so that everybody has time to get home essentially on Sunday and get settled. But that particular event it's interesting because it's such a it's a grassroots space, but you have 150 horsepower cars up to like 900 horsepower cars, and it's an oval track, but they set it up to where you have so much room to play that it's just a lot of fun. And then as the progression happens throughout the days, you just hot lap it and you just continue to kind of hot lap it. They have grid, and they'll slow grid down if they need to. We basically pay attention to okay, does this group need a little bit more clearance before we send out the next round of
Yeah,
cars?
yeah,
Does somebody
yeah.
want to go solo, like that sort of thing? But it'll be somewhere between 150 and 200 cars for the event.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to send me some details
I
after
will.
this. Because
There's
I just
supposed to
gotta check the
be,
calendar. I
yeah,
don't think we
there's
have anything
supposed,
in October right now, so that's a
okay,
possibility.
there's supposed to be something that's going to launch. I think he said today, but I didn't see anything come across my feed. He's got to get some stuff posted about it this week to get the momentum rolling for getting everybody prepared and kind of set up for that one. But other than that, what else do you guys have on your calendar for this year? What's the plan?
We've tossed around going to Mo Party. I believe that's in Kentucky.
I love all
But
the names of these events. I've never heard of them.
really? So
I've
so
never heard
Mo
of them other than Fuel Fest. I've never heard of any of these.
a Mo Party is more, from my understanding, we've never gone. Is more of like an old school Mopar show with a
Okay,
couple new schools. And Mopar Heaven is the opposite, which is more like new
interesting.
school Mopar with a few old schools sprinkled in. So
Okay.
they're kind of like a mirror of each other, right? So when we went to Mopar Heaven, we brought all of our modern stuff and like one or
Hmm.
two classics. And now for Mo Party, if we decide to go, of course the Superbird's got to go because it's classic, and
Yeah.
same thing running the Angle Kit, so it kind of makes sense for that one to be there. It really just comes down to how things are looking financially as to how much we can travel. In terms of futuristic stuff, I don't have exact dates off the top of my head, but we have talked about going to Vegas for another modded culture event and SEMA again. We've talked
Okay.
about going to Hot Pit Auto Fest in Vegas as well. I think that might be close to the same time frame as SEMA. Not entirely
Okay.
sure. Feel Fest in December. I believe Mo Party is September-ish time frame. Um, and then it kind of goes from there, like as things pop up, as we find out about events, picking and choosing what we want to go to. Obviously, if nothing's really happening on the radar outside the state, we'll stay local and keep doing weekend events here at Musselman Honda Circuit or Phoenix at Firebird Motorsport
Okay.
Park. Like we have a couple local tracks that we can do stuff. So we're always trying to do something or another on a weekend. So
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer this. How do you guys fund all of this? Is somebody doing like some other kind of a business that's funding it, or are you actually able to fund it off of the sale of the Angle Kit?
right now it's a hybrid.
Okay.
Starting out, my dad invested.
All
So I
right.
started this originally as like a apparel company just to get my name out there, just to kind of build a brand. I had shirts, hats, beanies, hoodies, all that kind of deal. We go out to local events, have the booth, merch, the usual like come by the booth, check it out. We have some show cars and everything like that. And then now that the Angle Kit is around, we've kind of started pushing more towards the parts side versus the apparel. Like this is one of our shirts right here in designs, the SRT
Okay.
drift spec, you know. Um, and so like that was like making a bit of money, and then like going down this road with the Angle Kit stuff, it was like a huge chunk. So my dad stepped up. He actually has a water well drilling company here in Wilcox,
Okay.
Arizona, and that helps a lot with getting us up off the ground, because
Sure.
it takes money to make money, obviously. And
Yep.
being like a family business and being drivers together, we're kind of just using this to not only improve our skills, but to grow stronger as a family and drive and just live life and bond and do fun stuff while we can, right? And then
Sure.
everything else to us is kind of like a byproduct. Like we're doing this more for the passion and the fun than anything else. And obviously, like if success comes with it, fantastic. If it
Sure.
doesn't, it's not going to stop us. We're going to just keep doing what we
Right.
can while we can, you know?
Sure. I think that's a good approach. I think the hard thing with business sometimes is deciding what the metrics are that actually mean you're successful at something. You know, we all talk about money,
Right.
but it's like on the flip side of that, sometimes the metrics don't have anything to do with money, but you know, they have to do with the people, you know, and the
Well,
people that. Good.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just the people that, you know, we get to encounter, and the support, and just, I don't know, the overall experience. Because I can definitely say, like, even from my side, just doing the media stuff, I've met so many amazing people, like, in the process of all of this, that sometimes that's really where the success feels that it comes in, regardless of, you know, what money changes hands sometimes.
Well, and that's kind of like exactly my point, right? It's like looking back at the end of the day, even if nothing takes off from this, we got to travel. We got to do events
Yeah,
together. We got to drive the hell out of these cars and have a great time and meet people doing it, right? And one
sure.
thing that I've told a lot of people that we pride ourselves in is like, we're not just like a big corporation that's like, I made a part, go buy it. And then
Yeah,
anyone who buys it would just post content and that's how I get my exposure, right? We're not sitting up
sure.
in the office like, yeah, just buy the product. Like we're out there on the grid next to the other guys with our
Yeah,
own personal cars that we built and tested, and we're like learning with everybody else, right? We're not professionals by any means. We're
right.
getting better, but I mean,
Of
I
course.
definitely still need practice like a lot. But but we pride ourselves in that, right? We're down on the ground with the rest of everybody else. We're not trying to act better or higher or anything. Like we
Sure.
just want to go out there and have a good time, burn some rubber, and make good connections. You know what I mean? And prove that
Yeah.
Mopars can drift with the rest. That's the whole mission.
Yeah. Well, and I know, like, myself personally, I love unique cars that are in a space that nobody expects them to be in, number one. Which is how you and I met, was off of a video of Kylie. And that's what I mean by, like, in the wild of Instagram. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool car, you know? And then it opened up the conversation. And I can't tell you how many of my friends, like, the initial, like, conversation sometimes isn't at the track. It's somewhere online based on whatever we came across. And I love when there is a unique build, or a ridiculous build. Like, I love when something looks absolutely wild and ridiculous just for the sake of it. I don't even care if it goes fast. I just, like, it would be great if it sounded cool, but if it looks cool, I'm in. I don't care what it
Right.
is. I'm in. Um, and not everybody has that creativity, and then, you know, some people want to, you know, stick to the social norms, or whatever that is to them sometimes. But I definitely appreciate unique. Like, when I did Hyperfest, the running joke was I had all the boats, because I had Brandon with Jenny, the boat, the literal boat, on the BMW
Mm-hmm.
chassis, Kylie, who has a Plymouth Satellite B body, Travis has a Plymouth Satellite B body. Their vehicles are set up very differently. Travis's is a little bit more stock. Actually, it's a lot more stock than what Kylie has. But Travis kind of prides himself on the fact that it's more stock. And then Kylie has built his so that it's what he wants to drive, and how he wants to drive is how it's built. You know, and I think there's a lot to be said for that too. When somebody builds what they want, like when they take the time to do the research, they take the time to try something new on something that really isn't supposed to be doing the thing that they want it to do, which I think is where your angle kit really kind of comes into play, if it's specific to the car that everybody wants to use, but isn't really built for the thing that they want to use it for.
Right. Yeah, no, that's the cool part about it, right? Like all of our cars, other than the Superbird, which is just ridiculous in and of
I
itself.
love the Superbird. It makes my heart
Um,
happy every time I see it.
yeah, but I mean everything else, right? It's pretty much all stock. We have
Yeah.
two 2016 Hellcats that are manual from the factory, and we're running the stock LSD rear end in it. We got stock axles, stock clutch, like nothing's
Mhm.
crazy. We got coilovers and an angle kit on it, and we send it. And same with
Yeah.
the Scat Pack. It's got exhaust and an intake, coilovers, Angle Kit. Send it.
Yeah.
The convertible, we literally, I don't know if you saw it on the page, we literally took a Sawzall to it. It was an original hardtop car. And we took
Okay.
Sawzalls and chopped the whole roof off. We took sledgehammers, beat the windows out. We're like, this is how you remove windows when you want to do a convertible conversion. Smash the glass, you know? And
Yeah.
and so it's ridiculous, but we chopped the top off, we caged the inside, and now it's the world's first Mopar drift convertible, and it's ridiculous for no reason, and we love
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
But again,
That's the
stock
best
rear
part.
end, stock tranny. It's a 5.7 with a cam in it. Like, it's not crazy. And that's the cool part, right? Is that because the Mopar platform is so interchangeable from like '05 and up, you can swap a Hemi into any one of these cars. Um, and our angle kit fits all of the brake styles, non-Brembo, 4-piston Brembo, 6-piston Brembo. You can literally go and we've kind of opened up like a budget drift build back into the community, right? Because all of the normal Stigma race cars or drift cars are now $10,000 average if you want a setup car. And
Right.
if it's a total shit box, you're still going to pay $5,000 to $8,000.
Right.
Now because the Mopars are so old and they're so kind of like forgotten about, I feel like, and they've never really been
Mhm.
looked at. They don't necessarily have the drift tax yet.
Right.
So like,
I like that. The drift tax. I like that.
and so like my Magnum, for instance, right? That we did that not only to be the first Magnum with an angle kit on it, but also to prove like it's a total budget build. I bought that car. It's an original '06 RT, 123,000 miles, clean title, all stock, running and driving, 2,500 bucks.
Sure.
Throw an angle kit on it and some coilovers, drift wagon, battle wagon, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
And the cool thing is, because you can do direct bolt on with this kit, let's say like you're really on a budget. You go to the junkyard, you buy a V6 chassis that's clean, bolt our kit to it, throw a junkyard motor in it, whether that's Hemi, LS, whatever you want to put in it,
Sure.
off you go. Total budget drift build. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Um, so with the angle kit, is the benefit the fact that it's bolt on, or have you guys done something else that makes it more beneficial for Mopar, or is it just the ease of install?
Kind of a little bit of all the above. It is direct
Okay.
bolt on. So like I said before, no cutting, welding, relocating needed, retain stock brake location, big or small, it doesn't matter. The way that we designed our spindle is small brakes fits one side, big brakes fit the other, and we have like a little notch arrow cut out for the big brake side. So
Okay.
let's say like you order an angle kit and we send it out to you, um, and your car is non-Brembo. Well, all you would have to do is put the side with no arrow on it facing the back, and there's your bolt-on stock location setup, right? And let's say
Okay.
it's the big brakes. You would literally switch the spindle to the other side, big brake, stock location.
Okay.
It's super, super cool. In terms of like beneficial, like on the car, obviously it adds way more angle to your steering. So instead of like maxing out your steering wheel and running out of angle and getting understeer and the front starts pushing, you now have way more angle on the tire itself, as you already know, to counter that issue. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to share with the group today?
I don't think so. Did you have any other questions for me particularly, or?
I don't think so. I mean, we've covered your upcoming travel and what your year looks like, how you got into it. We covered what the Angle Kit does. Probably what I'll do once this is done, like when the live, because the live will push out to everywhere. I can add in links and stuff so that people can come find you. And then I think questions will probably come a little bit later because I don't drift. I hang out in the passenger seat. My running joke is that I'm a professional passenger princess. And my day one drift bestie upgraded me to passenger queen. That's my new title. And
You need a
so
custom helmet that has a little crown attached to it.
right. Well, I think I have a couple of shirts, like shirt graphic designs that I have built that, have the potential to be launched at some point in time, because I sit in the passenger seat, or I'm from the ground and I'm shooting, or I've got a camera installed in a car to see like what's happening, but I'm not the person that's going to have like the proper questions for you other than like what I've already asked.
Right.
I think
I
there's
do actually have
definitely
one more.
go
I
for it, go
just
for
thought
it.
about it. So the company name, right? I always get
Yeah.
asked why Broke Ass Baller Racing. Why Broke Ass Baller Racing and Performance? And I love it because that's all of us in the car community. We are
Fair
all broke
enough.
ass ballers, right?
Fair enough.
We've all eaten ramen for a week and the car's got the new turbo on it. We got the new
Right.
coilovers on the car, but we're starving.
Yeah. Or
And
it's
that's
two
kind of,
o'clock in the morning and you're questioning your life choices in the
you know what I
garage.
mean? And so it started out as a joke. I was gaming online with my buddy, and he was making a joke. It was back when we were road course racing. He had
Okay.
a built WRX bug eye, and I was running my factory 5 race car. And we were just online chatting, and he made a joke about how he's very poor, and racing is so expensive, and car stuff is so expensive. And I
Mm-hmm.
responded to him like, nah, dude, you're not poor. You're just a broke ass baller like me. And it kind of stuck. We laughed about it, and it kind of got pushed to the side and forgotten. And then he calls me like 2 weeks later, and he's like, bro, ever since you said that, it sounded good. It stuck with me. It was funny. You need to do something with that name. And then my
Yeah.
coworker said the same thing. He's like, dude, ever since you said that to me, he's like, I agree with your friend. You got to do something with this. He's like, I've already thrown it around to a couple people locally. They
Yeah.
laughed, thought it was great. And he's like, I really believe that you should pursue that. And so that's kind of like the founding of the company name is like,
Okay.
well, we are broke ass ballers. We're balling on a budget. We're
Yep.
investing everything we have, time, money, you know, blood, sweat, tears, all the
Well,
things
it's funny that you say
into
that.
these car things.
It's funny that you say that. Craig Holland just joined us. I saw his name pop up, and we were talking over the weekend because my son's birthday was last week, so we were at the track this weekend just to kind of like hang out, and it was like the first time I haven't like really done media at the track. Like I actually just kind of hung out at the track because I could.
Enjoy the show.
And, yeah, and I hopped in the car with him, and he's like, "I'm doing my best to not put that much money into it," but he's like, "Every time I drift it." And I'm like, "You keep
Exactly.
telling yourself that. Just keep telling yourself that, because I guarantee when you get home, you're buying something else for the car."
And again, that's exactly why the name is the way that it is, because every guy, girl, whoever in the car
Yeah,
community can relate to it, because like that's the name of the game, right? We are all broke ass
yeah.
ballers at the end of the day. We got a sick ass car, but everything else might be a little bit lacking.
Well, I mean, definitely, most of the people that I talk to, most of their money is like there's a tire budget. And sometimes the tire budget, I'm like, oh, if I had pearls, I'd be clutching them. I'm like, it's just like, but then I have like $10,000 in camera gear at the track. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I just spend it in a different place than you guys do.
See, and even then, right, the name relates to you because you may not be
Yeah.
balling in the car community, but you're balling in the media side of things.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Well, and then sometimes like if I have like everything set up on my camera rig, people will comment on it. And when I'm at the grassroots events, it's endearing. They're like, Dawn, I think your camera rig costs more than my car. I'm like, I guarantee you it probably does, but we're not judging at all.
We don't
There is
talk
no
about
judgment here.
that.
So
Totally.
yeah, I think everybody in the motorsport space is the money in the motorsport space is always weird. That was why I asked you kind of like how you guys were funding it, because there is money in the motorsport space, but it never seems to get to the people who actually need it in the motorsport space. And it always kind of floors me like just a little bit that it's just such an odd space with this weird gray area in it.
It really
Um,
is. We've actually had since launch, we've already had several people hit us up like, "Oh, can you do a kit for the Durango next? Can you do the trucks? Can you do this? Can you do that? I have a XYZ, whatever." And I'm like,
uh-huh.
guys, I would love to do all the angle kits in the world and all the product in the world. I can't afford it. we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
we just
exactly.
started in January this year. Like we are a brand new company. We are all in right now on the Mopar stuff. Like
Yeah,
I cannot do anything else until things start rolling. You know what I mean? In
yeah,
terms of
sure.
future products for the Mopars, though, because that's something we haven't talked about yet. I am currently working with Big Duck Club,
Okay,
the manufacturer that does drift body kits, the
okay.
really durable ones. I am working on a custom drift wide body for the Challenger platform right now.
Oh, nice. Okay,
I do have a bash bar concept that I am working on as well. We are putting together an inline hydro kit for the Mopars to keep it more bolt-on and not chop your interior up, so that
okay,
like because not everybody wants just full-on gutted drift car. Like I street drive my
sure,
car still, and so does my
sure.
dad. So give and take. I mean, you're more than welcome to chop your stuff up if you want, but we're trying to
Yeah.
design it so that you don't have to, right? Um,
We
and
have
uh,
we have a
and
couple of people on the East Coast that are like that, where, everything's titled and tagged, and um, it still looks fairly stock. They still, have it on the street. So there's definitely a space for that, because people like to still be able to like run it to the gas station, or,
well,
take
we
it
still
out
have
for a
full
cruise.
interior in all of our cars. Both seats, back seats,
Hmm.
AC, heat, stereo. Like
Okay.
we're running stock stuff. Like I said, even down to the rear end stuff, and we just drift it because we can. And that's like
Yeah.
the whole premise. And another one I'm working on is racing carbon fiber door panels for the cars as well, because everybody's
Okay.
like, oh, they're heavy, they're this, they're that. Like, well, let's shave a few pounds off the door panels then. And what can we do to
Okay.
make the big boats a little bit lighter, and
Sure. Yeah. Nitro said, "Daily your cars, don't let them rot." I don't know. I,
exactly.
I feel I feel I feel like the drifters have a tendency to really run their cars. I think the biggest thing sometimes with the drifting is just the simple fact that it gets expensive. I mean, any racing can be expensive depending on what you're spending the money on, but I've seen some of these tire budgets, and like it makes my heart hurt just a little bit for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So there's a lot that goes into the tire aspects. I mean, you can
mhm.
ask any person that drifts. Yeah, you can get the cheap, crappy tires,
Yep.
but you're probably going through twice as many cheap, crappy tires as you are spending the money for the good ones. So
Yeah.
it's like the money kind of evens out at the end of the day in terms of quantity.
Sure. Yep.
Um, and then power, weight. I mean, everything's a factor. How you drive, if you cool them or not. There's so many variables that go into it.
Absolutely.
Everybody has their own little system, individually on how they like to run things, but tires definitely are not cheap in the long run. But pay to play, broke ass ballin'.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully you got a proper dinner and you didn't have ramen for dinner tonight. So,
No, no, no. I had Chinese food tonight. We're good. We're set.
we're okay right now. We're
We're
okay right
okay
now.
for
We're
now,
balling a
but
little extra.
talk to me after the tour. It's gas station food. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, but I mean, that's a whole other aspect too. I mean, even for me, like when I was on Drift Week, you've got gas expenditure, you've got food expenditure.
You got
I'm fortunate because
hotels.
Well, so I don't do hotels because I have a camper. So my travel, I have a rig that I travel in so that I can usually camp at whatever track I'm at, or I can stay locally to it. And that helps tremendously because as nice as hotels can be, I hate paying for something for 8 to 12 hours of time to sleep and take a shower.
I
You
agree.
know what I
There
mean?
was there was one time recently I was on the road. I think it was to Colorado, and I got in super late. It was like two something in the morning, and I'm like, I need a room for like the day or the night or whatever, and they charged me
Mm-hmm.
the full price. and
Yep.
they're like checkouts at 11, and I'm like,
Yep.
you charge me for a whole day, and it's like the same day, right? Like midnight passed, and we're in the same 24 hours. It doesn't matter if I
Yep.
show up at 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. Like it's the same day in my head, but they're like checkouts at 11, man, and I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yep. Yeah, that's definitely my hang up with that portion of it. But it's so like you've got travel costs and then you have the cost of whatever the event costs too, because you have entry cost, you have your tire budget, then if anything goes wrong with the car and you got to fix it at the track. So there's definitely a lot of costs associated with, especially with traveling to events. It's one thing if you're just going to like local events just to have the seat time. I think
or
that's a
even if
little
you're
bit
just going to
different.
get content or like
Yeah.
hang out, right? It's different if you just fly there, enjoy the event, and go home
Yeah.
versus physically having a car there and running it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I got to the point where I traveled, I chose to travel. I had a van before and then it ate a deer. And that was how I ended up with a Jeep and a camper. I still miss the all-in-one unit, but having the camper has actually been a bit of a game changer just because it gives me the benefit of having everything I need. Because I have a lot of gear, because I have a problem. And, so I'm constantly acquiring stuff, but it's nice to have everything, like kind of like if you were at home. I literally have everything I could possibly need in my small little 1970 something camper. And so I just got to the point where I was just okay with driving everywhere that I went so that I didn't have to deal with an airport and so that I didn't have to deal with a hotel stay. I knew where I was sleeping at night, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I've gotten used to sleeping at rest areas and truck stops, and I mean, you name it, I've probably slept there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we kind of covered everything. Um, when I turn this off and we're done being live, I will let you know, and then we'll talk about New York a little bit, and I'll see if maybe I can make New York or not. I don't know that we have too many people on at the moment, considering it's 10 o'clock. It's so tough to pick a time frame to do these lives sometimes, just because everybody has lives. Um, but I don't think we have any questions at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Anybody who's still on, thank you for joining us. It'll be live on YouTube. It will live there, so you can go and watch the full thing from start to finish. Mike, thank you so much. This was
Absolutely.
lovely. I'm happy that I met you online, and we'll see
Definitely.
where it goes from here.
And thank you everybody for watching if you are. And check us out, man. Brokeassballer_racing on Instagram, Brokeassballer Racing on TikTok, our website, brokeassballerracing.com. Pretty much the same gist across the board. Check us out. We got a lot of content happening, and hopefully it's only going to get bigger and better as we go down this road.
Love it. All right. Thank you.